Do you know what I want to tell people sometimes? Your relationship isn't sustainable. Because I get so many comments about people who feel neglected or dismissed or invalidated saying, well, what do I do when I tell my spouse my feelings? And they mock me, they make fun of me, they tell me I'm crazy. They say, your feelings aren't my problem. What do I do when I've expressed my needs for closeness and emotional connection and affection and they refuse to prioritize how I feel loved or valued? Or maybe what do I do when they make me the problem? They constantly nag me or blame me or criticize me. I think the first thing you need to do is realize that that relationship isn't sustainable because it's just not. That's why you feel so exasperated. You're done. You're at the end of your rope. It's because you're not in a partnership. Relationships are built and maintained on mutual trust and respect and intimacy. You don't have any of those. Trust says I can rely on you physically, emotionally, sexually. Trust says I can depend on you to be faithful. That doesn't just mean not betraying me sexually. That means you won't betray me with power or control or chronic selfishness or disrespect. Do you trust them to help you with the mutual chores? Do you trust them to listen and move towards understanding when you have a hurt or a desire? If you don't feel like you can depend on your partner to be there for you, that's not a sustainable relationship. It doesn't matter who sees themselves as right or wrong. As trust dies, the relationship dies as well. Respect is holding someone else in high regard. It means we admire them, we consider them, we're thoughtful about what's going on in their inner world. I might not agree with your perspective, but I place value on it because I value you. If you feel hurt or neglected, I might not feel like I hurt or neglected you, but I respect you enough to say, let's figure out what happened as a team, because I don't want you to feel hurt or abandoned or dismissed. I want you to feel respected and considered. And if you haven't felt respected or considered or valued in quite some time, you're not in a sustainable relationship anymore. And ladies, respect and appreciation and admiration are huge for men. We need to feel admired and respected by you. Now, I know what you're gonna say. You would respect us and appreciate us a lot more if we did some things that were worthy of respect or appreciation, right? That's a fair point. But there's no point in just going round and round. If you don't respect or appreciate your spouse or partner, your relationship is suffering, isn't it? Now, intimacy is the closeness in the relationship. A lot of people think intimacy equals sex, but that's just part of what intimacy is. In fact, only having sexual intimacy without first establishing emotional and physical intimacy won't be healthy for your relationship. In a mature relationship, it's not the sex that creates the closeness. Sex is an expression of the closeness we are both continually cultivating and prioritizing. In fact, I had to learn that from most women's perspective, she would be a lot more open to sexual intimacy after she can trust you and depend on you in the non-sexual intimacy and affection department. That means hugging, kissing, holding, playfulness, flirting, giving compliments, touching her gently, not just grabbing her boobs or butt, and doing all of that while she knows you have no ulterior motives or pressures for sex. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with touching your spouse, hoping that the physical intimacy will lead to sexual intimacy. But this is important. When she's not in the mood, pouting or making her feel guilty doesn't lead to more sex in the future. It leads to less. When she feels emotionally safe with you, when she feels comfortable saying, no thanks, don't want the tea today. No tea for me, please. When she trusts that you value her more than you value sex, when she feels respected, especially when she's not in the mood, that's where more sex is found. Intimacy has to do with knowing our spouse. You can't be close to someone you don't even know. So let me ask you, do you know them? Do you know her? Do you know him? Do you know their desires? Do you know the ways they feel loved and valued most? Do you know their fears and their stressors and their burdens? Do you know their hurt? Because so often we don't. Maybe we're naturally self-centered. Maybe we're oblivious to what intimacy actually requires of us. Maybe we don't know how to love others because it wasn't modeled for us. I was guilty of some of those, but it doesn't matter. If you decided to marry someone, I'm telling you right now, if you don't have an interest in knowing them and creating closeness with them, that relationship won't work long term. You can live together. You can have a marriage certificate, but if you aren't both devoted to building and sustaining trust and respect and intimacy, you don't have a sustainable relationship. If you feel neglected or abandoned or dismissed or disrespected or unappreciated or undesired or invalidated, that's not compatible with relational success. Never has been. Never will be. So what should you do? Well, almost always, if you value your relationship and you're not planning on leaving immediately, you have to get in front of a third party, even if it's by yourself at first. Because you both might have some emotional blocks that nobody pointed out before. You both might have a fear of real closeness or vulnerability or intimacy. You both might be unknowingly contributing to the destructive cycles of conflict that you seem stuck in. But the moment you feel that resentment build, when you can't respect them or appreciate them because of all the hurt you've buried, you have to value your relationship enough to stop and say, something's wrong. I'm not saying it's you, but we have to get in front of someone and figure out how we can love each other better, because this isn't working. Because love isn't going to save you. Hoping things get better in time isn't going to work. You both have to stop fighting with each other and start fighting for the success of your relationship. You both need to check in and be present and practice humility and selflessness and consideration and affection. And when you feel like you're the only one doing that, regardless of which spouse you are, that's not compatible with any relationship succeeding. All we can do is work on us, get healthy for us. You aren't asking for too much by wanting to feel close and emotionally safe with your partner. You aren't asking for too much by wanting to feel desired and valued and prioritized in your most intimate relationship. Those are bare minimum needs. And yeah, it takes two for a relationship to thrive, but it only takes one to change a relationship towards healthy. And a changed relationship is much more likely to eventually thrive. Good luck out there. I'm praying for you and pulling for you.